Today I continue my explore around Hong Kong with my Ricoh GR IIIx, and I also want to test out a new filter that I bought and see whether or not I wasted $40 US. So because it's summer here in Hong Kong and there's actually a typhoon over this weekend, so forgive the messy hair. So right now I am in this rural part of Hong Kong called the Mui Wo, and then later on we're gonna check out the waterfall because I thought typhoon, there's gonna be rain, so the waterfall should be flowing with water. Now that you know the agenda for today's walk, here are some initial shots of the day where I've used the new filter I bought just to test it out. So now the question is, what the heck does this filter do? So this is going to be a black diffusion filter made by K&F Concept, and as the name suggests, it's going to be diffusing the light that the camera collects. And to attach it onto your Ricoh, there's going to be a filter thread that you can stick on through an adhesive to the lens. And then the filter, you can just screw into that filter thread whenever you want shots that has that diffusion effect applied made by the filter. So how does this filter actually work? So if you look closely, there's going to be a ton of like tiny black particles onto the glass, and that is how the filter diffuses the light that's coming in. And the effect that it does is basically it gives the image a softer look with less sharpness, less contrast, and then the highlights will appear to glow. Think of it as shooting through some thin layer of fog. One important thing to note about these filters is that they come with varying intensity values. I think there's going to be like a full strength filter, half strength, 1/4, and 1/8. So this particular filter that I got has 1/4 intensity because I realized that I wanted something on the softer end in terms of the filter effect, because if it's not enough for my liking, I can always apply more glowy diffused effect in post-processing, but once I've applied the filter to my camera lens, I can never undo that effect. So that's just something for you to remember. So right now I'm just walking around Mui Wo, a very small village, and I wanted to test out a few more shots and see whether or not this filter is actually worth it, and visit the Silver Mine waterfalls later on, which I hope has an abundance of water. To be honest, the filter really didn't leave very good first impressions from these photos, especially when it came in being hyped from social media that it's going to make the shots appear cinematic. But throughout the explore, I'll have a number of realizations about why that's the case. Starting with, because you're softening down the image, I think it will work well during night street photography whenever you have a lot of very bright artificial lights around you, or on days that has harsh lighting. So today may not be the most ideal conditions for me to test this out because of the typhoon, overcast weather, it's already soft. For those of you that think that they can just leave the filter on and forget about it because after all, you want that dreamy look for your shots, the next location showed me that maybe that's not always going to be the case. Well, I did find the Silver Mine waterfall, and although the waterfall area is quite pretty, you know, surrounded by all the greens, it's not exactly overflowing with water as I'd hoped. And for the shots themselves, I'm trying a few with and without the filter, because I noticed in the shots that using the black diffusion filter really reduces the sharpness and you lose a lot of details in the photos. So in certain shots, like landscape shots like these, I prefer my photos to have a lot of detail and sharpness. So I think just because I have the black diffusion filter doesn't mean I need to use it for every shot. After reviewing the photos I took today, I realized that I may have misjudged the filter a bit, because throughout the day I was using this film recipe called the Vibrant Nostalgia, which if I look at the settings, it's actually a very low contrast recipe. And with the filter on, then it's going to have a lot less contrast. So I changed the recipe and used my usual Ectacolor, which is a high contrast, punchy type of recipe. And it doesn't look too bad. I think the details are there and the highlights have that glowy effect that the filter is supposed to have. So, wrong first impressions. Well, I've decided to hike parts of the Olympic Trail so that I could have a nice view of the Mui Wo village surrounded by some very nice greens and landscapes. I must say that with the filter, the highlights are really glowing, so I can see why some people like that diffusion effect. But I realized that with the filter on, it does reduce the pocketability selling point of the GR IIIx, which is one of the main reasons why I bought it in the first place. You can still fit it into your pocket, it's just that you'll have a bigger bulge. To be holistic on this test, I'm going to be trying out this filter for night street photography because I think this is going to be a genre where the results are going to shine. glow. I'm trying to make a pun. Right now, I made my way back to the central area because honestly speaking, the nightlife in Mui Wo isn't exactly vibing. So specifically for night street photography, I think the shots aren't exactly about the technical execution of it. It's more about the vibe or feelings of the shots. So for example, night street, I'll probably be using a high ISO, which could add noise to the shots and a slight loss in details. So using that diffusion filter, I think could add more character to the shots because of that dreamy, glowy look. Maybe I should have just started with this night street test right off the bat because the highlight glow and soft look really fits the mood that I'm going for. It's like it was really meant to be used especially in the high energy streets and vibrant lights of Hong Kong. The fact that slapping on a filter can change the character of the shots without any further digital enhancements or post-processing needed, I now understand the craze on why it's so popular to have in filmmaking and certain genres of photography. So, is this filter going to be for everyone? Frankly speaking though, I'm not entirely convinced yet about this filter. I mean, yeah, sure, that glow effect can be quite good, can make your shots appear cinematic, which is kind of like the craze in every shot right now. But as in all things, it's very easy to overdo it, overuse it, and if you apply it to every photo that you have, it kind of just loses its charm. Although I might say that it could add a layer of protection to your lens, which is a good thing. So that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.